Okay, sorry for being late. Had some technical difficulties. Still trying to dial in how this all is gonna work. It's been a busy week. You know it's Friday again? I didn't know it was Friday again. It's Friday again. It's Friday. How's that terrible song go? No, 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 no. I don't know. Let's give people a few minutes to come in here. I got to adjust my camera. It's way too low. It's like down here. It's got to go up. Let's put some music on. Give people some time to come in. I'm going to adjust my camera. I'll be right back. Nothing under embargo, I hope. Be bad. Folks coming in on the YouTube, probably on the X. I'm not going to leave my phone on the desk like I did last week so that I don't drive all of you crazy with my endless amount of notifications buzzing constantly. Okay. I've got to really figure out how to dial in this camera. So right now, I'm looking a little muted. I have to tell you, I'm not that muted. I'm generally more animated. Haha. Also, I have this on a weird angle. Another mount. A weird rig so that I can't really show you what this is because it's the camera's on, but oh crap. All right, good enough. Maybe. I'll balance it out with this side. 1 second. Joys of doing live production. You normally don't see all this stuff because I edit things out. You're welcome. Whoa. What is happening here? Oh man. There we go. That's tight. That's level. I can adjust it the way I want. We can begin the show. All right. Still don't have my camera where I want it to be because it's doing something funky with the lighting. I had to turn my key light way down because it was also completely washing out my face. And half an hour before the show, I decided, well, I want to move my monitor mount to a different mount that I got. Hence, some of the monitor hardware that I have around me here, and other Elgato mounts and stands as I work on getting this all dialed in and set up. And let me tell you, you shouldn't start putting stuff together at your desk within half an hour of doing a show. It's just not a good idea because I didn't finish in time. So, um, yeah, I'm almost done. And next show, the monitor is going to be able to come all right now. It's here. It's going to be able to come all the way around in front of me, and then I'll be able to have the camera sit on top, the webcam sit on top of the monitor like a normal person, and we will be able to have a normal show. Let's check over in the comments here. Got a bunch of folks joining us. Welcome, everyone. Feel free to hop into the comments. Did my neighbor's gardener really just start while I'm trying to do a live show? Don't they know I'm doing a live show? Every time I change the time, and somehow they decide that's the time that they're gonna freaking start doing that again. Ah, it's so frustrating. Oh man. If you ever do anything live, these are the challenges and the, shall we say, joys of doing it live. So, okay, let's get this show started. I realized I didn't do my intro anymore. I don't even know where my intro went. I used to have a whole intro. Um, Used to be, hey, I'm Jesse, blah, 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 live show. So, yeah, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'm Jesse. I talk about business technology, mostly a little bit of consumer and prosumer tech. My channel is tabGeeks, as you can see from the logo, and the channel that you're watching this on, whether you're on X or on over on the YouTube. I try to do a weekly show where I talk about the news of the week, and we've got a lot going on. So, let's jump right into it. The first topic I wanted to get into is some of the Ubiquiti stuff. I did a video on the new UNVR Instant that is, where is it? Hanging out over here. So I got some new toys to show off. This is the UNVR Instant. This is designed as an all-in-one protect and access control host. So you don't need any other Ubiquiti hardware. You don't even need Ubiquiti networking gear. You just plug this in, plug in a bunch of cameras. The switch on the back is PoE, so you are able to plug your cameras directly into there, get power and data out of those ports, each one individually. I think it's a max wattage of 15.4 watts out of each of these. So anything other than the super large Ubiquiti cameras, such as like the PTZ Precision, or any of the ones that have a enhancer on them, that's going to be too much power. But pretty much everything else you're going to be able to run out of here individually. And it's a 60-watt across all of them. The cool thing about this is that you've got a viewport on here. Yeah, it looks like you can see that pretty well. So this HDMI out port on here is a built-in viewport. Now the viewport alone on Unified Protect is $200, and this whole thing starts at $200. So it's a really, really good deal. I think it starts $200, which doesn't include the hard drive, but the hard drives, either you have them or you can buy them. They're not terribly expensive. The hard drive slips inside like that. You have one hard drive. You can make them as big as you want. They can be SSDs as long as they have a SATA mount SATA. Again, this doesn't need any prior Ubiquiti stuff. So this is going to be great for a small business that's like, hey, I bought a shitty system from Costco and it's terrible and I hate it and hate everything about it. And I ripped it out and I want something better. You can drop this in its place, even if they don't have anything Ubiquiti, and it's going to work like a champ, especially if they only have a handful of cameras. I have not tested what would happen if you hooked another switch into it, like just a Ubiquiti switch. My guess is similar to what happens if you plug in a regular Ubiquiti switch and try and use it on a network, is it acts as a unmanaged dumb switch, so the traffic still goes across it. But I did test what happens when you plug this into a Ubiquiti network. So say for example, you have the Unify, what is it, the Unify Express, I think only runs network. So if you have that and a switch and your cameras are plugged into a switch being controlled by that, and then you plug this in and you plug this into the same network, that will work. It will pull in those cameras across the network and you'll be able to adopt them with the UNVR Instant. The other thing that they showed off with it, which I didn't have at the time of filming, but I did a separate video on showing it off, is they're actually doing this with a kit. Now, one of the limitations of the UNVR Instant is it is only capable of six 4K cameras, 15 2K cameras, something like that. and check my video for the full, not off the top of my head, um, details and restrictions there. But they have this kit which is includes four G5 turret ultra cameras as well as a 1 terabyte hard drive and the UNVR Instant. And I did a whole video on this, and basically it comes down to: do you want a couple of cameras? Um, at a discount, all in a nice package here, included with a hard drive that you're going to be able to just ship out to a client and say, "Hey, here's four cameras, put them up and plug and play," and it's really simple and straightforward. Or do you want to customize your cameras, pay a little bit more, but say you want black cameras or you want a different kind of cameras? Then you could just buy the UNVR Instant on its own, as well as whatever size hard drive you want, and then you will be able to set that up from there. So all in all, really good product launch. Really excited about these. It's about time. I am really hoping that Ubiquiti somehow manages to get these on the shelf in Costco. Like, you have these other systems in Costco from, Chinese manufacturers, whatever. Their interfaces are terrible. They suck. I hate them. I deeply hate those systems because people buy them because they're cheap, and then they have a headache putting them in, and then they butcher it, and then they need to have somebody like me come in and fix it. And I don't want to work with those systems because their UI is terrible. Their interface, even any of the feature sets, trying to do anything on them is just a headache. It's just a pain. It's not worth it. Just pay the little bit extra money and get a better Ubiquiti system. But now it's not even that much more money, if any, to be able to get a full system like this. This is, what's the price on this? I forget. It's $699, I think, for the kit that they're doing that includes four cameras. That's fantastic. So big fan of that. And that's my first two couple topics there. Um, what else did we have from Ubiquiti that I haven't talked about? The doorbells. I don't think I did a reaction video talking about the doorbells. The doorbells are interesting because they're not doorbells, they're access control. And they're access control doorbells, and a lot of us are going to use them as doorbells for our homes, including me. I'm getting a new front door, and I'm excited to run some network cable to it and have a Ethernet proper powered, high definition doorbell. Currently, I have the G4 Pro doorbell, I think, which is high def, but it's Wi-Fi, and I don't have any cable over there, and I haven't run any cable over there because the front of my house is stone, and that's gonna be a pain in the butt to do. But if I'm already opening up the walls, then I can drop a cable in there, and I can put in a proper. Yes, I could do a PoE conversion kit and set that camera up to, or set the doorbell, the G4 Doorbell Pro, up to be PoE, but I'm a YouTuber and I like testing things, and I like having the latest and greatest best camera, especially on my front door, and I want it to be hardwired in. And so of course I'm going to get the new doorbell when they come out, and start playing with it. So let me go through some of the specs on that real quick here. Hold on, let me pull up the site, store.ui.com, and it's actually under door access. This surprised me because it's a doorbell, it's a camera. I expected it to be under the the protect category, the camera security category. Um, this is called the G6 Pro Entry. The standard version is has no price on here. Shipping in Q4 2025. Both are shipping in Q4 2025, the Pro and the standard. The They are both, I believe, PoE. Yeah, they're both PoE plus. Um, there's a couple new features specifically, or a couple other features specifically on the PoE, or sorry, on the Pro over the standard, such as a 3-inch touchscreen. They changed, or they moved the direction, the location rather, of the IR emitter that's on the standard versus the Pro. The Pro, it is there not? Yeah, is higher up versus lower down on the standard. Um, and I did include in my reaction video the main differences between these two, but it's a really solid, powerful. It is a beefy boy. It's a little big, but a really nice doorbell with a really good camera on there. 12 megapixel image sensor, so that's 5K, and you have the downward facing camera on them as well, specifically for packages. So I am looking forward to putting this on my front door and playing around with that. So that's what I think I have for the Ubiquiti stuff. I don't think there's anything else here that's new that I haven't talked about yet. Um, I'm trying to reformat my notes so that it's done by category. Let me open my AI tool. I think I had reformatted it, but I don't think it ever made it into my notes. So let me just take a look here. Where's my previous conversations? No, where is it? It's like a weekly task I was doing. Nope. I don't know. I lost it. Good job, AI. Gone forever, I guess. I was playing around with Grok versus Gemini this week, and they were both not doing what I wanted them to do. I was trying to get them both to do generation of a image. I figured, hey, let's do a Apple prototype. If Apple managed to fit all of the electronics into the bump, what they're calling the plateau on the new iPhone Air, then maybe we could have an iPhone that is the size of just the camera bump. Turn it on its side, and you've got a iPhone Nano type device. That'd be cool. I think that would be interesting. All right, I don't know where that is, so I'm just going to move on. Let's talk about the Apple event, shall we? Since I'm already rambling onto it, Apple did their regular event where we have the new iPhones and stuff that are announced. Let me pull that up. iPhone event, everything announced. Right. So let's go through these real quick. The biggest thing that everybody was looking at here, the big new one taking the battle once again to Samsung, is the iPhone Air. As I mentioned, it is some crazy engineering that they did there, that they managed to fit all of the internals, with the exception of the battery and the screen, into the top bar of the where the camera is normally housed. Now, on the Pro phones and before, it was a little square, and that's where the camera internals were, and the spread out through the rest of the phone was the rest of the phone internals. And what they've done on these new models is, like similar Android company phones, they have extended the width of the camera bar so that it is now the width of the back of the phone. But on the on the iPhone Air, apparently all of the internals except for the battery and the screen have been squished into that little pill-sized shape, that capsule area, which they're calling the plateau, or maybe that's only on the Pro model. I'm not sure. Um, I think it's across both of them. Regardless, that means that they are working towards miniaturizing so much more of this technology. And I think that really opens up kind of the imagination to where they're going with this, because we've got the Vision Pro and we've heard rumors that they're working on glasses. But the fact of the matter is that Apple is really, really good at miniaturizing technology. Um, to give you an example, obviously, we all know how small the phones have gotten over the years, or bigger in some cases, but smaller with more technology packed into them. The Prime Sense technology, which is what the Microsoft Kinect used back in the day on the Xbox, which Prime Sense was an Israeli company that had developed this body motion tracking technology. That is the precursor to Apple's Face ID. And Apple bought the company and shrunk that technology, which used to be, 6 or 8 inches long, and in a dedicated camera type device that you put on your TV stand below your TV, so that it could track you while you're playing Xbox. And they shrunk it down to be teeny tiny and to put it in all of the iPhones, and that now serves as Face ID. So Apple is really good at making things super super tiny. So if we're managing to get all of the compute, all of the computational power, including all the new cellular, Bluetooth and all that chips for the iPhone Air, if they're able to get all of that into what is essentially, what, an inch by 3 inches distance, and super, super thin, like, that is a crazy, crazy accomplishment. And I think really lays the groundwork for what's coming next. And whatever your feelings are about the iPhone Air, whether you're going to buy it or not, I am not. I already ordered the Pro Max, which I'll get into in a moment. Um, I think it's gonna sell like hotcakes, and a lot of people are questioning that, and oh, they're just trying to play catch up or whatnot. I think it's gonna sell like hotcakes because a lot of people that buy iPhones as status symbols. Number one, number two, always wanting a thinner phone or a smaller phone. That's number two, and then number three is going to be folks that are interested in the new design and how that fits into where things are going. And I think that also adds into not just shrinking things down for future headsets, but also future foldable, right? And so Apple kind of is showing us that they have the chops to make one half of an iPhone that is that thin. Because when you put two of those together, you've got a pro size iPhone. And if you have a hinge in the middle there, and you split the internals in between both sides, then it stands to reason that Apple could theoretically be putting out a really thin, solid, strong, because the iPhone Air on its own seems to be very strong from this point. We'll give Jerry Rig everything his time to really work through that review and see how strong it actually is. But and I am excited to see that, so get to work on that. But I think that that's really showing us that we're going to get a incredible foldable iPhone from them, and I think that this one, regardless of all of that, is going to sell like hotcakes because of the reasons I mentioned before. Now, a lot of people are saying, and they're kind of right about this, is in the pricing. This makes the regular iPhone look like a steal right now, and it is kind of a steal because you have most of Apple's best technology, including ProMotion, now going into the base level iPhone. And I think that those are also going to sell very well because those are the ones that always generally tend to have the promotions and things like that. And is a major upgrade for a lot of people who haven't upgraded in a couple of years, is going to be like a massive jump up or step up for them. I'm personally going for the XL, the large one, the Pro Max version, because I use my iPhone more than any other device in my arsenal, and I have lots of them. My iPhone is always with me, except on the Sabbath when I don't use electronics or technology in general. And it runs my ecosystem, it runs my smart home, it runs my studio. I'm constantly taking pictures of my children on it, and that is very important to me. Pictures and videos of my family and events and things like that. It also connects and powers my Apple Watch and my whole organization system. A lot of what I do is based on the reminders I'm able to do on Siri. Now, Siri's an idiot, and I look forward to the day that Siri is supercharged and, has maybe some Gemini or OpenAI magic really properly rebuilt into Siri's brain capabilities. And I look forward to being able to use a proper, virtual assistant like it was intended many years ago when they first invented Siri. That being said, Siri does reminders really, really well. So if I tell Siri to remind me tomorrow at 10 a.m. to do XYZ or get back to that client or reply to that email or make sure mailed back that product, that works really, really well. And I use that tremendously. Anyway, all of those reasons are reasons why it's a no-brainer for me. I do have the current 16 Pro Max. I will be trading it in. With that, a little bit of boy math, I guess, is that it comes down to only a couple $100 extra a year, because what did it cost me? $1,100, and I am trading it in. I'll probably get 750 for it, and so a couple $100 there to be able to continue improving my phone. Also, I use my phone on a lot of YouTube shoots, whether I'm working on products here in the studio, or I'm out in the field or in the wild, or filming a video on location somewhere. I use my phone for a lot of that, and so having much higher quality lenses in there is going to be huge. Like the zoom lens on the Pro Max phones is tremendously upgraded to the point where it's a very noticeable difference. This isn't just like a small spec bump. This is going from a 12 to a, what is it, 48 or even 24 when you're zoomed in megapixels on per photo. That's double the size. And so that's going to be huge. And I'm very much looking forward to that. All right. What else are we talking about here? We have the 17 Pro and Pro Max, iPhone Air. Oh yes, AirPods 3. So, AirPods Pro 3 rather. I use my AirPods all day, every day. It's what I use. I'm in the studio. Whether I'm editing or I am listening to music, I'm working, walking around the studio, cleaning the place up, working around the house, inside, outside, whatever it is, throughout the day, in and out, AirPods Pro, constantly. Then late at night, if I'm watching some YouTube videos or late night editing or something like that, AirPods Pro. Again, I love the AirPods Pro too. I've taken them all over the world, and they are fantastic. I've used lots of other sets of headphones. These are the ones that I like the most. Sometimes when I'm editing on my computer, I have a pair of wired Sony headphones. I'll use those if I'm having some latency issues or I want to like some really surround more than what the AirPods can do. But other than that, they're pretty much my daily driver mainstay. And so that was also a no-brainer for me to order those. I have heard from folks on the ground there that are friends of mine that the ANC is really that good. It is a major bump, a major upgrade here, and I will say that the ANC on the Pro 2s is decent. but I've had better, and I look forward to better. And so that's one of the reasons why I upgraded here is because, like, for example, I take my daughter to therapy once a week, as I've mentioned in my previous videos, and I'll be sitting in the waiting room, and I can hear other people's kids crying, and I don't really want to do that. I hear plenty of my own kids crying. Thank you very much. And so usually with noise canceling, you can cancel all that out, and these do a very good job and cancel out most of it, especially if I'm listening to music. But if I'm editing a video and I don't always have music playing, then it doesn't necessarily cancel it all out. So I'm looking forward to trying those out. And yes, of course, I will make videos on all of these, and I will also do a video on comparing the Pixel 10 Pro Fold as soon as that shows up to the iPhone 17 Pro Max as soon as that shows up. Pause for drinks. All right. Over on the software side, I have been using iPadOS 26 as well as iOS 26 for the last month, 2 months, something like that. And they've gotten really good. They're fantastic. In fact, I had to use iPadOS, what were we up to? 16, 18, 17, something. The previous version today, and I couldn't remember where anything was. I was like, why doesn't it have this feature? Oh, right. That's part of iPadOS 26. Where's the menus? Oh, crap. That's part of iOS or iPad OS 26. Um, it was very confusing because I've gotten so used to it, and it is a very natural feeling upgrade because it's, at least on the iPad, very similar to Mac OS in many respects, whilst keeping what makes the iPad Pro fantastic. Um, I am working on a video talking about using virtual reality glasses to be able to have your screen on the go with the iPad Pro because I got the 11-inch and it's the most portable, compact package, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. So I'm going to make a video about that as well. But as far as the betas go, the betas are pretty much done, and the gold level release will happen this week. Today, I think actually it's starting to roll out. I did not test early the Mac OS 26. And the reason for that is because, um, I mean, I really should have. I have a test computer here. I honestly didn't think about it. My main computer is my MacBook Pro. That's what I edit on. That's what I do all of my work on. That's runs the entire channel on. I didn't want to take the chance on my production device there, even though I took the chance on my iPad and on my phone because as much as I rely on my phone, even with the beta, it still works okay. On the Mac, you could completely tank the capability of certain software. So I didn't want to really go down that road until today. I just, while I was getting set up here, I ran the update because I figured it's close enough to going GA. I really should have put the beta on this Mac because I can, and I should have been playing with it. So I apologize. Finder is very different. I just noticed when I opened it up on my machine. So that was a bit of a shock. I look forward to seeing what other shocks are in store for me. What else? Apple Watch Ultra 3. Yeah, not going there. I thought about it. I have the Apple Watch Ultra 2. I wish it was black. I wish I had not bought this and waited for the black one, except then I wouldn't have owned it for the whole year before they came out with the black one. Why did they do it that way? I don't know. Why is there no black iPhone, what the hell are we up to here? I can't keep track of all the names. iPhone 17 Pro Max. Why is it not coming black? I had to get the dark blue one because I like dark phones, dark stuff, dark mode everything. Um, I know a lot of people are getting the orange one. You can have your orange one. I'm gonna have the blue one. I like the blue one. I'm sure there's purists out there that are going, no, I need to have the aluminum with the white one. Sorry, the aluminium version of that, the white version of that phone. More power to you. Um, not for me. But anyway, as far as the watch goes, sorry for just yelling a little loud there. As far as the watch goes, this thing is still crazy powerful. Now, I thought I was going to need a newer chip. Need is a strong word. Want a newer chip. I thought that larger screen would be, really noticeable. From what I'm hearing from folks that are there and the pictures I'm seeing, it's not that noticeable. So I'm going to continue with this Ultra 2, probably for, I guess, 2 more years. That seems a lot. 1 year? What's the reset refresh cycle on these? On the Ultras, it's been 2 years, I think. So, shoot, I don't know. Maybe I should get the new one. But we'll see how the performance is on it, and you know um, what the reviews say. I'm gonna wait on that. I'm gonna wait to make that decision. It runs fine. I mean, if I'm gonna eventually end up buying it, I may as well buy it now and be able to enjoy it for the full length of it. But um, yeah, this one has been running fine. I use it all day long, get notifications on it, talk to Siri. Granted, she's an idiot, but for what she does well. And it does work. I do wish the screen was bigger and maybe the watch was a little bit thinner. That would be nice because, it's huge. But that's my thoughts on that. I am not currently ordering the Ultra 3. I do like the Ultra because it's rugged as hell, and I have little children. And for those with little children, things get whacked a lot. They get wet, they get whacked, they get beat up. That, and I'm also kind of a klutz, so I'll be walking down the hallway and I'll just smack this into a door frame and be like, "Well, I'm glad it's really rugged because that didn't break, thankfully yet." At some point, I did actually replace the back on my iPhone 16 Pro Max because I was putting the kids to bed and I bent over and my phone was like falling out of my pocket. So I tried to put it up on my son's bunk bed on the top bunk, and he had a book there or something, and it just slid off the book and slammed right into a toy on the floor. So it was like a perfect, you know, recipe for disaster, and it shattered the back of the phone. It's the first time that I've ever actually properly shattered a phone. I used to be team case all the way. I dropped that for a while. Now I'm back to case because I want to protect the phone before I trade it in. But I love not having a case on my phone, and it backfired. But that's why we pay for insurance, right? So I paid the $30 or whatever it was, and I got a new screen on the back of my phone, and I'm going to get the full value for my trade in, and all is well in the world. But I am looking forward to the new ceramic shield on the back of the phone because I think that's going to be, for obvious reasons, much, much stronger. All right. What else do I have in my notes here? Next topic. Here in Long Beach, we had 70 shipping containers fall into the sea in the port. They were getting ready to unload. Something happened. I don't know what. And just a whole mess load of them came flying off the ship. Incidentally, 2 days later, I got a package and the package was soaking wet. And so I made the joke that, wow, I had heard they fell into the harbor, but I didn't realize that they were plucking them out and finishing the delivery of them, never mind getting them through customs during that short period of time there. Uh, Kidding, of course. This was wet for some other reason. I'm not sure I want to know what it was soaked in when I got it delivered, but I took it outside and I cut it open and I was able to extract the product that I had ordered from there. And it was hopefully not damaged. It didn't seem like it was wet. The box itself wasn't wet, just the box it came in was soaked. So, thankfully, there were no injuries. That being said, there might be some packages delayed even further, whatever was in those containers. All right, what else do we have that I talked about here? Yeah, this is definitely an earlier version of the show notes that I did because I worked with my AI to rehash this to put them all into the into the same um topics. Let me see if I can pull that up. I tried before, I know, but logged in here. Log in here. Why are you not letting me work? Oh, here we go. I was not logged in. That's why it wasn't showing up any of the extras there. Let's see here. You guys are quiet today. Last week there was a lot of people chatting. Less chats this week. Oh yeah, this is so much better. Okay, let's open this up. How can I open this up? Give me the results. Okay, yeah, this is much better show notes. I apologize. I have been disorganized. Yes? No? Maybe? No, I take it back. This does not look the way that I remember it. What the hell is going on here? Okay, AI is failing me today. I need to not be doing this on an iPad and go back to doing it on my computer so that I can actually have it formatted the way that I want. But oh, here we go. There's the Ubiquiti stuff that I talked about already. So I talked about a lot of stuff last week also, so I don't have to include all of that here. Apple products, AI technology. Oh, here's an interesting one. Paramount is looking at buying, was it Time Warner? Where was that article? Da-da-da. Yeah, I can't use those notes. Those notes are making my head hurt. Okay. Um, this isn't entirely technology, but it is technology because they're technology companies. Okay, Paramount and Paramount Skydance, who bought each other, or Paramount bought Skydance and merged. Now they're making a bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, which is really interesting because Warner Brothers was HBO and Max and all together, and then split and then remerged and then split again or split again twice. I don't know. There's a whole lot of drama around that, and this is excuse me, a complete bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. It's backed by Larry Ellison, who is the Oracle of Oracle. Um, his family, as well as his son is the CEO of Paramount, I think, or the owner of Paramount, whichever. But essentially, Warner has been struggling for a long time, and this would bring together Paramount, Skydance, and all of Warner Brothers and Discovery, which actually could be a really solid juggernaut of a production studio. So I thought that was interesting. It's always interesting to see how these companies kind of grow and merge and then start to hit some bumps in the road and then try and pull Hail Marys, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And then you get consolidation from others. And that's how we ended up with, massive companies like CBS and ABC and so on, because they were able to put all the pieces together and, make it all work. But the Ellison family, Larry Ellison and co., looks like they want to really own a huge, significant chunk of Hollywood and all of that. So that's going to definitely affect the folks that work in the industry out here in California. Um, but essentially, it would put them together with a streaming subscriber base that is larger than, where did I see this? Larger than what Amazon Prime Video has. Not to mention the huge amount of IP that they already have in all of those studios, and being able to put all that together and make all of those movies again. And so I thought that was rather interesting. Um, let's see here. Google Meet had an outage. That was fun. Was Meet offline for any of you? Because it was down for several hours for myself, many of my clients, and a bunch of my other GDE friends who were complaining about that from around the world. So thankfully that's resolved, and we don't have to worry about that anymore. What else here? This is a fast week. I don't know if it was super fast for anybody else, but I feel like yesterday was Monday. That's sometimes it goes that way. Okay. Oh, right. I didn't talk about Starlink at all. I didn't talk about anything other than, well, I talked about two things in the title here: Starlink cellular and testing the DJI Osmo 360 at Disneyland. Let's get to those two things and then we can wrap up because I think I need more coffee. My brain is not working. What should we do first? Let's do DJI Osmo. So I have been playing around and testing with the DJI Osmo 360 for the last couple of weeks, and I had a whole review going. I was testing it in the pool, I was testing it on my scooter, I was testing it at the beach, and it's been fun. It's a really cool camera, and I'm starting to really master 360 filming and why you would want to, and how to use the camera as a regular camera. DJI kind of frames it as a whole, all-in-one camera for creators. So, for example, you don't have to buy an action camera and the Osmo Pocket, which is what I use for all of my videos, as well as a 360 camera. You can have all of those in one camera, because if you're shooting just with one lens, then it can be an action camera. If you're shooting with just one lens with certain features, it can be an action camera, or it can be just a creator camera, just like I use my Osmo Pocket to film. And because of the way the lens is set up, you can actually change the angle and it'll be able to keep the footage super steady, just like the gimbal stabilizer on the Pocket. And if you want to do 3D, obviously, you not 3D, sorry. If you want to do 360, obviously you can do 360 because it's a 360-degree camera. Here's my problem with editing 3D: is it's massive. The files are enormous, number one. Number two, you have to use their proprietary software in order to do it. I haven't seen other softwares that are enabling me to do it that I can figure out how to use yet. I imagine that DaVinci probably has something for it. Maybe Final Cut Pro has a 360 plugin. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it. But I've been trying to use the DJI app, and when I first tried it out, it had a error message in Chinese that I didn't know what it meant until I put it into translator, and the translator said that it was, I forget, it was being blocked as a security issue or something. It was very bizarre. Um, And I have all this written down and documented, so it'll be in my review. But essentially, it was a little rough in the beginning as they had just rolled it out, and it was their first ever 360-degree camera. And so now, after a few firmware updates and a bit more time with it and playing around with it, I've gotten more the mentality and the filming style and how to edit with all of it, and it's all kind of coming together. Um, One of the key things with 3D cameras is that the reason for having it is, well, obviously so that you can capture everything all around you, but it's you don't have to plan the shot. You don't have to point it at what you plan on capturing. You can capture everything and reframe later. You can frame it up however you want. You can shift the frame from front to back, etc. Even the side and top and bottom. It does a very good job of making the camera disappear. That being said, it's a lot more work because if I'm filming something and it's right in front of me and I'm filming with my phone, I know that's captured. I have in the frame what I want. I can then take that video file, throw it into my timeline, tweak it a little bit here and there, and I'm done. I don't have to go and export it from another program after I've chosen where I want it to be pointing in the footage, and then take that completed file and put it into my editing program to tweak it up and then export it. It just elongates the entire process. So that's something I really don't like about that. And yes, if you film with only one side of the camera, the front lens, um, then you are able to just have it export the MP4 as if you were filming with your phone or with a regular action camera or the Osmo Pocket, for example, and you will be able to just dump that in your timeline and edit it. Um, that being said, my mother-in-law was in town and wanted to go to Disneyland. So I was like, all right, this is a much better way to test this. I have a lot more experience with it. Let's go and test it. And it was pretty fun. I did get yelled at one point because I had my it's not a selfie stick, but they wanted to ban it because it's a selfie stick. It's an extendable handle for, like a tripod, if you will, for the camera. And Disney doesn't like it when you do that. So I was on one ride, the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, and I had it extended so that I was able to capture the whole ride and all of my family that was on it. And I got off, and the ride attendant was like, "Hey, if you do that again, they're going to take it away from you." I was like, "Oh shit! Thank you for letting me know." So be careful if you do that. You can have a stick under it to hold on and film with. You just can't, extend it. So that's that. That being said, the footage came out great. Everything about it looks great. I did take an action camera with me and start to try to do a little bit of comparison, and it's night and day. It wasn't even worth the effort of me filming a side by side. So I will not be including that in the review because I put it away. I didn't bother. I used the extra battery because the batteries are interchangeable. But I didn't bother using the Osmo 4 when I can use the 360, which is so much better. So looks like we have a couple of comments on here. BJ, welcome to the chat. Good to have you. Pixel, same likewise. Welcome to the chat. Good to have you. BJ wants to know, I may have missed it, but when are we getting a tour of the new office? When I finish it. It may look good on this side of the camera, sort of. You may have seen at the beginning of the show when I was fiddling with my orientation of my camera. There's still shit everywhere. So I'm working on that. These cabinets need to be redone so that I can take the shit that's on the floor and around me that I'm still organizing and sorting through and put it in the shelves. But first, I got to clean those shelves out. So that's probably coming in the next week or two. I got a new storage thing over there, so I'm working on that side of the studio. But I will be doing a full tour throughout here. That being said, I have gotten it to the point where it's functional. I'm able to make videos again, which is great because I didn't make videos for many, many weeks, and that made me very sad. So I'm glad to be back and making videos for all of you. Pixel wants to know, does the Osmo 360 directly save to, how do you pronounce that? Equirectangular format. I don't even know what that means. Is that the 360 format? Hold on. Let me look up this word equirectangular because I'm not familiar with it. Come on. Equirectangular projection. No, that's a map. Good job. Yeah, equirectangular images. I'm learning something new. Okay, that's the format, the panoramic format that it films in. When, yeah, that's how it films. It saves them all in 360-degree. Equirectangular is apparently the proper name for photos that are filmed in 360 degree, and Yes, it does save directly into that format, and that's one of the reasons why the files are so massive because it's 8K and it's full 360. And so what you do is you put it in the software on your computer, and then obviously your computer is flat, so you're only seeing what's in front of you. I do look forward to the day when I can put on virtual reality glasses and just kind of look around and be like, "Ooh, over there." You can do it on your phone, where if you hold your phone this way, you can say that you're changing the framing, and then turn your phone around to where you want it to frame, and then drop your keyframe there, which will lock the framing of the shot in that position, and then you can move your phone again when you're at the next point of when you want to reframe. You also on both, I think on definitely on Insta360's app. I don't know about DJI's app, but you are able to do like an intelligent framing where you tell it, okay, keep lock on my face, and then as I move around the camera, it'll automatically follow you. I do have to play with that on the DJI app and see if it'll do that. But yes, to answer that question, that is how it is saved. Pixel continues to ask, is the camera good enough to use frames from video recording as a 360 photo, or is it too grainy, blurry, etc.? I think it's too grainy, but I am not an expert, and I haven't tried to export just a frame to see how that works. When I do pause it and zoom in on anything, though, it does seem a little bit grainy on that regard. Pixel says, speaking of the handle, why is there no button on it to record, pause, etc.? This makes using cameras cumbersome and to cut on editing time later. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that was it DJI who made one? I saw one that had a handle with a battery built in that also had a remote on it. That being said, the both the Insta360 and now the Osmo 360, they have this twist to record and stop motion. So if you have it on a long pole and you are recording, 360 style, and you want to start and stop, all you have to do is that twist motion, and it will do that. Hmm. Pixel says, is the video equirectangular always horizon locked? It is locked to where you start. You can turn it on and set it to be horizon locked, but that's a setting, and it depends on how you set that up when you start filming. Um, it's not a default, and basically the direction that you put it in. I mean, it depends how you're holding the camera, but the direction you put it in, if I'm not mistaken, is where you're going to see while you're filming. Yeah, because I could be walking down the street and be watching, what's sideways. That being said, while you're filming, you can adjust that on the screen to look around and see what you're looking at. And if you're filming in 360, it is filming around you in 360. So, okay, let's talk about SpaceX. I'm gonna take another drink here. Let's talk about Starlink, and then I will let everyone go, and I will, oops, dropped a screw on all of you. Sorry, didn't mean that. Maybe I should put my microphone mount on different desks so that I can whack this desk and you won't hear it. I don't know. Still playing around with the ideas in here. All right. Starlink did something unexpected, crazy. Starlink spent more money than the entirety of the Starship program. All the billions that they're spending on developing the next generation vehicle to fly to Mars and beyond, which is many, many, many billions. They spent more than that buying spectrum, wireless spectrum. Not the company, but rights to licenses to use wireless spectrum in the air for Starlink. Now, where did this come from? Let's rewind several years to when T-Mobile wanted to buy Sprint. The US government said there needs to be four carriers. If you buy Sprint, there won't be four carriers, there will only be three. So they said, fine, we will sell Boost Mobile and whatnot to another company to be able to operate as a fourth carrier. And Dish Network bought it. Dish and EchoStar used to be the same company. They split. Now they're rejoined. They bought each other, merged again. How all that works is way over my head. I don't have an MBA. I couldn't tell you. But the fact of the matter is that now EchoStar, who is the parent company of Dish, is still on the hook or was still on the hook to build out a fourth nationwide cellular network. And they had all of the spectrum that they bought from the T-Mobile spectrum, sorry, the T-Mobile Sprint deal in order to be able to operate that. And they didn't really do anything with it. And SpaceX complained to the FCC saying, hey, they're not using all of this amazing spectrum that they're sitting on. They need to do something with it. And the FCC actually started an investigation, and this was going to be a big problem for Dish. Turns out, last week or the week before, Dish sold a ton of it to AT&T for an ungodly amount of money. And then this week turned around and sold the rest of it to SpaceX for what's the number on that? 26 billion, was it? Where was it? Some obscene amount of money here. Um, Starlink Spectrum. Do. That's not helpful. Sorry, $17 billion. That's a lot of money. That's more money than they spent on the entire Starship program to date. And this is all for Starlink. This isn't for use with anything else. This is going to be Starlink, and this is going to be the next generation of Starlink, because what this enables them to do is to have direct to cellular connectivity. It won't work with today's phones, but it'll work with next generation phones, where you'll be able to have SpaceX providing services from their satellites directly to phones around the world, similar to how they do now. Now, this has tremendous applications, because if you think about where they're going, you've got the cars, which now can have their own Starlink cellular without requiring a dish. Their robots are going to be able to have cellular, which doesn't require a dish, which is great because cellular works, indoors under roofs, which doesn't really work so well for satellites. How that works for cellular broadcasted from space, I'm not entirely sure. But if they own the rights to it, then theoretically they could build out a terrestrial network as well. Maybe that's how that would work. I don't know. Or maybe they would have whoever buys an army of these robots give them a device that would broadcast that network as well. I don't know. Curious how that would work. I'm thinking kind of, out loud here in real time. Um, but just huge amount of applications here for where they're going with all of these, the robotic trucks, the robotic robots, um, and not to mention robotic starships and planes and trains and automobiles and God knows whatever else they're working on. So this is a huge step for the company, and something that I, as a fan of Starlink, am very excited about. EchoStar, great. You got payday, dude. You're out of there. EchoStar, Dish. Um, you got your payday. Wrap up shop and shut down for all I care. Like that's it. You don't need to do anything else. You made a ton of billions right here, and you can pay everybody back and just retire into the sunset. But for SpaceX, the game is just getting started, and we're moving in a direction where you've got T-Mobile working with Starlink, with SpaceX, in order to do calling from space, to the point where Verizon and AT&T have now teamed up to support what are they called? AST. What's their AST? I forget what their actual name is. AST Space Mobile is space-based 5G broadband. I don't think they're quite there yet. I think they have like one satellite up, and so they have a long way to go. That being said, you have enemies, Verizon and AT&T, who hate each other and for many years didn't even have compatible technology, now partnering up and funding this competitor so that they can have some competition to T-Mobile and SpaceX. And competition is great. Let's keep competition going. But I think that this is going to be a massive step forward. So very excited about that, and excited to see where they're going to go with that. And with of course, with all things Starlink, I will continue to cover it. I am doing a video on small, medium, large, how to choose what Starlink dish you want, and I point behind me because the enterprise dish and the standard dish are behind me over here in the studio. So I got to set that up probably this week or next. What other things am I playing with? I have an interesting new gizmo here that I want to show you. This is from Ahai. I forgot to, not I forgot. I didn't save the box. I threw it out. But they are the contract manufacturer for Anchor, and so they have their own lineup of batteries and stuff. AOHI. It's pronounced Ohai, like HAI kind of a thing, like hi, like the meme, the cats. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they make really cool batteries, but they are launching a USB-C keychain, and this is pretty cool if you like, gizmos that are not necessarily worth it, but are worth it because they're really cool and actually come in handy once in a while. It's designed to be EDC, and honestly, it's a little thick to fit on my keys as an EDC. But it's a 240 watt USB-C charger. And so let me just show you here. You take the tips off the ends there. You get USB-C to USB-C, and it's 240 watts. It is only USB-C 2.0 transfer technology, so it will work for data in a pinch. Just don't use it to move any large amounts of data. But it is extremely high powered charging, which is really nice because 240 watts. The one I carry on my keys currently is, I think, 60 watts, which is good enough for a phone, but not really good enough for a laptop. Certainly not a MacBook Pro or multiple devices, etc. The other cool thing about this is that if you put the tips back on here, I don't know if it's TSA friendly, but there is a twistable titanium blade that's in here. Let me see. Yeah, you can see that. And it works great as, box cutter. And I guess you could do a little stabby with it, but I don't recommend it. And it's not very effective other than making just a small puncture on somebody. But ow, that hurt a little bit. It is a decent cutter. Whether or not it'll make it through TSA, it may not even flag, they may not even notice, or they may take it away. I don't know. The other side of it, and the reason why they may also take it away, is actually a lighter. And I have videos that I'm doing on this, just showing this off because it's cool and I like cool tech. But basically, you plug the other end, you plug the USB-C into a battery or any USB-C power source, and the tip of this end is like a car battery, not a car battery, but a car cigarette lighter of your. It's got the coils inside. You hit the button, they turn red, and then you can start a fire with those. You can light, your campfire or a cigarette if that's your guilty pleasure, or other type of smokables if that is something that you do. But lots of times I'll be like, hey, does anybody have a lighter so I can light a candle or start a campfire or a barbecue, hibachi coals, etc. And you could do that with this. So pretty cool. And it's designed to be a lanyard and just clip onto things. I will clip it onto my backpack, but again, it's a little large for keys for me. I like small, compact things. So I think that's pretty much everything that I had to talk about here. I promise next week I'll have better notes. I had better notes this week than I did last week. Last week was a lot of rambling. This week I will have better notes on all of these things. I'm trying to get this into a repeatable format so it's easy to digest and it's easy for all of you to follow. And I can pull it all into an easy set of notes that we can work off of. That being said, it's been another week. Thank you all for joining me. If you have questions, comments, etc., that didn't make it into the live, you can still throw them in on here or on any of my videos. I'm happy to answer questions and help out where I can. Hope you all have a great week, and I'll catch you next week.